Hello there guys, what is going on? SonOfChelsea back here again for another edition in the 12 days of Christmas. Got an amazing guest once again, NiiNiIFC joining me for another discussion, another debate around, last time we talked about Didier and Frank and the greatest Chelsea players and sort of their moments of being icons in Chelsea's history. I think it's interesting now to look at the best teams in recent Chelsea history and looking at two teams that won the Premier League pretty emphatically. I'm going to give an honourable mention to the 16-17 under Antonio Conte. I think that team was so impressive, the 13-game winning run, what that team did. I think it was astonishing to watch the change in that team from 15-16 to 16-17. But I feel these two teams are just a little bit more iconic, I think, from what they achieved, the records they broke in their seasons when they won the Premier League. So it's going to be the 04-05 team under Jose Mourinho versus the 09-10 team under Carlo Ancelotti. So, Nini, what are your impressions on these two brilliant Chelsea teams?
Well, for the 09-010 team, that brings back fond memories purely due to the domination in which we used to play with, especially for the second half of the season. We really scored goals like crazy. And, it's the only time as a fan in my life where I've seen us score so many goals for fun like that. I thought our attacking link-up was amazing. I think we had some very underrated players there that don't get spoken about as much, like Anelka, one of the best technical players I've seen, and Florent Malouda, who was actually the best left winger in the country for like 2 seasons, competing with Gareth Bale. So, I just felt like that team, the way they played, the goals they scored, that was seeing everyone in their prime, in their peak. And I guess the only disappointment about that season was the disappointing losses to Inter Milan. Because at the same time, Inter, I think when you lose to a team in Europe that goes on to win the tournament, it's not that bad. But just knowing how great that team was, the way we played, if we had got past that Inter hurdle, I think it could have been a great, like a Rafa, some of these guys in their prime. So that team definitely sticks out. And of course, obviously the 04-05 team. First time in 50 years we've seen the title being lifted again. And it was funny because I think before the season even started, we were the favourites, like clear favourites, and we kind of just fulfilled that potential, and we kind of won the league quite easily and emphatically. So, of course, the sentiment for that first title win is there because, we haven't seen a title in over 50 years. And the club, I remember back when I was young, really made a big deal about, getting the Chelsea pensioners on the field to, help lift the medals and the titles and stuff. So that was nice to see. But I might have to side with the 09-010 season, purely based on the aesthetics, the fun, the goals, the domination. That's the club I want us to be. And I think under Lampard's, we'll get there. We're definitely in the right direction.
Just looking at some of the stats from those two teams. So the 04-05 team won the Premier League with 95 points, going further than Arsenal did the year before. Only lost 1 game that season, so we're very close to going unbeaten. Yeah. We're unbeaten at home as well. I think the biggest stat from that season, when you look at this team, you're going to look at defensively, how dominant they were, only conceding 15 goals, a record that has not been broken since. And to be fair, based on the way things are going at the moment, doesn't look like it's going to be broken anytime soon. Obviously winning the League Cup along with the Premier League title, and of course making it to the Champions League semi-final. That ghost goal against Liverpool was the only thing that stopped us getting to that final. And I think that's another year where you look at, like you said, with the 09-10 team with a Champions League title, that you think if we would have got to the final that year, you would have backed that team potentially to go on and win it. I know playing a very good AC Milan side, but I think that that team was incredible. And just looking at some of the stats from the 09-10 team, won the Premier League with 86 points, 103 goals. So we look at defensive stats for the first team, but that's where you're looking at for the 09-10 team, 103 goals. That record only got broken a couple of years ago by Man City winning the Premier League. I think the most impressive thing about the 09-10 team is Chelsea doing the league double home and away against Arsenal, Liverpool and Man United. The Golden Boot for Drogba, 22 Premier League goals for Lampard, winning the FA Cup the first time in the club's history we did the double. 7 goals against the likes of Villa and Stoke, absolutely battered the teams we faced that year, especially in the run-in. I think that, I'll side with the 04-05 team, but that 09-10 team, at least once we got into the latter part of the season when it became a 2-horse race between us and United, it was ridiculous how many goals that team scored under pressure, because it was a really tight title race as well. Sometimes Man United would be playing before us and the pressure would be on us to win. And then Chelsea would just go out and smash 7 past Stoke. It was ridiculous.
I know. And just you going through the stats, man, for me, this is like the dream pathway way to win a title. You've won the league, you've got the top goal scorer, the top assist holder, you've broken at least 2 records during the season, etc., etc. Of course, that first Mourinho title win, where I'd probably think we'll never see that defensive record ever getting beaten again. I think that also reflects on the times as well, because the quality of the league, considering that we had our team that was perfect and ready, and Man United was slightly in transition. You could say the same thing slightly about Arsenal after the invincible winning season 2, and I think Liverpool was starting to just get back on that little rise as well. So we were comfortably the best team in the country by far, and I think that's why everything reflected that. But for me, that 09-010 season where we had to really, we didn't have things going our way. Things were going against us. We had injuries. The way the season even started, people were doubting whether we could win the league, and just the way we ended things, the goals, the domination, the competition, and then to get 2 trophies that season 2, top goal scorer, assist holder. I mean, that was like nearly a perfect season.
Just looking at some of those players in the 09-10 team, and of course some of them are obviously reflected in the 04-05 team as well. Cech, Ivanovic, that was one of Ivanovic's first seasons at Chelsea.
Yeah.
Carvalho, Terry, Cole, Johnny Mikel, who played a key role for Ancelotti in midfield. Frank Lampard, Michael Ballack, Florent Malouda, Nicolas Anelka, Michael Essien. Some incredible players within there. I think that it was amazing how a team that was very much, a lot of the key figures schooled in by Jose Mourinho and sort of that defensive mindset, how much it flipped. And I think that when you're looking at Chelsea now and you sort of want to see the current attack go in that direction, it's interesting in terms of that was the one year that sort of bashed against the DNA that you associate with Chelsea winning teams, right? The Chelsea winning teams of the 04-05, even the way we won the Champions League in 2012, it was more in a counter-attacking style of play. I mean, were you a little bit disappointed past Ancelotti that sort of attacking flair and style didn't stay long enough? It seemed like it sort of faded after Ancelotti left, didn't it?
Yeah, I think there's so many reasons for that. Of course, the managers we hired. After Ancelotti, I think we had Villas-Boas, a guy that we gave an impossible job, gave him no money, and didn't sign any new players for him. So that was destined to be, and especially in hindsight too, that was destined to fail from the start. And after that, Benitez took over. Then Di Matteo was able to keep his job for a bit. And even though, he won us some trophies, he's not a top-class manager in that sense. And then after that, it was, okay, we're going to go back to what we know. And then Jose Mourinho, Antonio Conte. So I feel like we didn't even give ourselves an opportunity to get back to trying to be that team that won in that manner. First time, I think we saw slight changes 2 seasons ago when Sarri was our manager, trying to bring in a more positive style of football. And then, Lampard came and fully took those principles, really modernized them a lot more. And really, for me, as I always say all this time, we developed our own Chelsea identity in that sense from our academy. And we were just applying our academy football to the first team. So that's what Lampard's done. And I do think that playing this type of way, is going to get goals. We're starting to see that already. And as this team grows, gets better, gets older, the goal is going to get more consistent.
I think about the reason why I edged the 04-05 team, and I think it is for me nostalgia in terms of being about 6 or 7 at the time that season happened, and watching Frank and idolising Frank Lampard and of course most of the Chelsea team. I think because that season laid the foundation for what came later, I think that's why, for me, I'm always going to look at the 04-05 team as the best. Yeah. Because I think when you look at the DNA and look at the continuation and the fact that so many key players like Frank and Didier and Cech, Terry, Carvalho, so many players from the 04-05 team were then key components of the 09-10 team. I think that's a big thing for me. Jose's impact, and unfortunately the way Jose's gone to Man United, he's now at Spurs. I think people forget the key impact Jose had in transforming Chelsea. We had the investment from Roman, but what Jose did that year, and I still don't think there's a Chelsea team that has walked on the pitch with, and it was the same in the 05-06 season as well for the most part, where you believe Chelsea were going to win. I think that this was the Chelsea team that I think struck the most fear into opposition. And when they went 1-0 up, you felt game over. And I don't feel like the 09-10 team quite had that, but it's different reasons, right? I think what I love about these two teams is I think it's more your sort of a preference in what you like, the style of football you like to watch. I mean, 4-5 team, just talking about them a bit more. I mean, I think they're underrated for their attacking. When you look at the players within there, the likes of Lampard, who's coming into the prime of his career, Idiger Johnson, Joe Cole, even though he was more of a fringe player. You got Duff and Robin on the wings, Drogba coming in as well. I mean, there was still some incredible attacking in that season. I think gets underrated a bit because of the defensive resilience we saw.
Yeah, I think in that 04-05 season, I think when we approached the December periods, we were regularly scoring, winning games by 3-4-0 all the time, with Robin, Duff interchanging either Gudjonsson or Drogba or Lampard getting involved. But I guess for me, even though we were dominant, it always kind of felt like we played with the shackles on, in a sense. I feel like, the stats weren't too high. I think the top goal scoring player that season had like maybe 12 or 13 goals in a title winning season, etc., etc. So it's one of the reasons why I really enjoyed the 09-10 season more. And for me, I always put the 04-05 season on the top, on the pedestal like that. But I just think over time now, like, just looking back over the years, seeing where we've come from, I look at the 09-10 season, and it's like one of the most fun seasons like I can remember, and I've still got lots of memories from some of the games or goals. Like I can remember Malouda's like drive through midfield and then his thunderbolt long strike for like 25-30 yards against Sunderland. Like I can remember all these types of details, and of course I was a lot younger when we won the title in the 04-05 season, but I don't know. I just felt like that season, 09-10, I could see all the players I've been watching up. I've been watching as I've been growing up, have fun, express themselves, show what they're about. I mean, we saw Lampard get 20-something goals that season. Under any other manager, it would never have happened. We saw Drogba finally off the hooks, 32 goals, all competitions. I would have got more if he didn't pick up an injury too throughout that season too. And the goals we were getting from Anelka, Malouda, etc., I can go on. So I don't know. After seeing that, it's meant that now my standards now, something that needs to beat that. And I think with what Lampard's doing, I think we have the potential to be a team that can maybe have like the best of both worlds. A bit of the 04-05 in us and a bit of the 09-10 in us too.
That is a dream hybrid team. I mean, it really is. Do you think that, of course, we're talking about these specific seasons, but do you think the fact that the 04-05 team went on to retain the title, the only team in Chelsea history to do that so far, retain the title, which is so difficult, and them to do it as almost emphatically in some ways, in a bit more attacking that season. Of course, we lost a couple more games, but it was as impressive to retain the title. And I think that's the thing about Carlo, a bit like Conte's second season. Of course, Conte's second season was worse than Carlo's second season, and I have a lot more sympathy for Ancelotti in his second season, but I think the fact of looking at that second season and being frustrated that team that was so good and even started the following season 10-11 really well just couldn't keep it up. I mean, was that a frustration to you? That team could have gone on and done the same as the 04-05 team and retained it.
It will always be a frustration, and I entirely blame it down to the boards at the time. I just think that, I can understand it in hindsight now. Abramovich of course has a passion for the game, but, is his knowledge the same as how it is now today? Probably not. And I just think that maybe the manner in which we won our successive title maybe gave people some false sense of security, in the sense that maybe we got complacent. We started to force certain signings like Shevchenko. I think that was the turning point, because obviously Mourinho wasn't able to, get the best out from the team, because we then had to shift to playing with two up front. But then that also brought its benefits, because Drogba was able to finally score goals because now he wasn't getting double marked by opponent defenders. But I don't know, that kind of signing stopped your Robins and Duffs, and we kind of moved away from the attacking transitions, wingers that would beat their man type of play. And then, I don't know, in that season especially, the 06-07 one, if anything stopped us from winning the title, it was all the injuries. For me, it's by far the worst injury hit season I've ever seen. We would see Michael Essien balling out at right back for nearly the entire season. Diarra, Lassana Diarra playing there too, Bularuz. Yeah, it was an absolute crazy season. And the fact that through all those hardships, we were still so close to, getting the title, I think it says everything about that team. But yeah, after that moment in that period, that was like probably the most that Mourinho could do with the team. And I don't know, the lack of direction has always been our biggest hindrance. That's always stopped us from progressing, going to the next level. It's taken, 15, 16 years, I guess, to finally realize the mistakes we made.
Final question about these two teams. You always remember the game we won the title officially. And, of course, Bolton in 05, the 2-0, Frank Lampard, 2 goals, the celebration with the away fans. I mean, I think it's a lot about both teams, the way we won it, and the fact that the 09-10 team secured it on the final day with an 8-0 win. Which one do you prefer? Because I think both were incredible moments in Chelsea history for different reasons. And I think really... I'm going to admit, I think that I can't get past Frank Lampard going around the Jääskeläinen. I think that that's just such an iconic image and moment in Chelsea history that I think that slightly surpasses 09-10. But I remember watching 09-10 and being nervous before the game. And then within half an hour, we knew the title was ours. It was incredible, wasn't it?
It was just fun. But as you were saying, it's like burning in your retina, basically. Lampard skipping past the Jääskeläinen and, slotting it in. Even that run he went on, the conviction he showed, like, I am scoring this goal, no one's taking it from me. I love that Drogba made was it good Johnson? Someone made a run to make space for Lampard to just carry the ball like that. And, it was a great moment. And, something that you never forget. But for the 09-10 season, I was actually at the game for the final one of the season. So I know that things went to the final game of the season. So that was sort of pretty entertaining, tight season, that was like the first time I had seen a league title go that close before. And the manner in which we just utterly destroyed Wigan 8-1 to win the title. I mean, that's what I mean. Like, if you're like a younger fan, I guess, you're seeing the team win 8-1. You're seeing a hat trick. You're seeing, volleys being scored. You're seeing, you're lifting the title trophy that same day after such an emphatic win, and United losing the same day too. It's like one of the most perfect days for me, to be honest.
It really was. So now I pass it over to you guys in the comments below. Let me know, who do you think is the best Chelsea title winning team, 0405 or 0910? Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Thank you, Nini, for coming on the channel and having this debate with me. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. Follow all of Nini's work in the description box below. All the links will be there. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video. If you did enjoy it, hit that subscribe button and a notification bell so you never miss an upload. Follow me on Twitter at SonOfChelsea. Have a great day, and I'll see you again